There are a total of 340 billion trees on our planet Earth, and you might be surprised to learn that each year, the world's largest furniture brand, IKEA, uses 1% of those trees. That's around 30 billion trees annually, or 963 trees every passing second, just for IKEA furniture. But would anyone believe that this billion-dollar business empire actually started with a few boxes of matches? And that the boy who couldn't even remember the names of things, how did that very weakness turn into his greatest strength? Welcome once again to another video from Who. The boy's name was Ingvar Kamprad, and he started his first business at just 6 years old. His family noticed early on that he was quite different from other children and had a natural business sense. His grandmother gave him 88 Swedish cents, with which Ingvar bought 100 matchboxes. To encourage him, she became his first customer, buying a box from him for 3 cents. Soon neighbors began buying from him too, and his first investment tripled into 3 Swedish kroner. While it wasn't a huge amount, this experience sparked in him a passion for buying low and selling high. As he grew, while most kids were busy playing, Ingvar began selling various household items. Every time, he would double or even triple his profits, and instead of wasting money, he would reinvest it back into the business. When he was enrolled in school, his teachers noticed something unusual. He showed signs of dyslexia, a condition that makes reading and memory difficult. But that didn't stop Ingvar. Even at school, he continued running his little store, selling things like pens, watches, and belts to his classmates. In fact, his first major profit came from selling 500 pens. At the age of 17, when Ingvar completed his graduation, his father gifted him the money to register a trading company. That company was registered in 1943, and he named it IKEA. The I and K stood for Ingvar Kamprad. E came from Elmtaryd, the name of his family farm, and the A came from Agunarid, the name of his village. At first, IKEA had no physical shop or office. It was a virtual trading company, focused entirely on delivery. He sold the same kinds of products he had always sold, and all he had was a small shed where he packed the orders. No one could have imagined that this small shed would one day give rise to a billion-dollar global business. In its early days, IKEA sold items like pens, wallets, and other imported goods. Business was going well, especially for a 17-year-old. But all the items he was selling were also available in physical stores, which meant customers would only order from him if the price was lower or the product was different. To tackle this challenge, Ingvar began doing market research. He made a list of products that were cheap to manufacture but sold at higher prices. He couldn't understand why something like a pen, which cost just 1 cent to produce, was being sold for 10 cents in stores. While other young men were enjoying their freedom, Ingvar was busy analyzing the market. His research led him to a key conclusion. The problem wasn't in manufacturing, it was in distribution. Products became expensive by the time they moved from factories to stores. So the only way to succeed in a competitive market was to cut costs in distribution and transportation, which required careful planning and effort. Until now, IKEA hadn't included furniture in its catalog. But in 1948, following World War II, the Swedish government began constructing many new homes. These homes needed affordable furniture, and that created a perfect opportunity for Ingvar to add furniture to IKEA's offerings. Slowly, furniture sales started to outpace everything else. He would buy inexpensive furniture from local manufacturers, add his profit margin, and sell it. Because of his dyslexia, Ingvar couldn't remember complicated product codes, so he gave every item a simple and unique name, making it easier for him to remember and easier for customers to order. These attractive names in the catalog made a big difference. Instead of boring codes, customers saw charming names, which boosted sales significantly. At that time, the only way for companies to win orders was by offering lower prices than their competitors. But that usually meant compromising on quality. And many businesses were doing just that, damaging the reputation of mail-order companies. That was when Ingvar decided to open IKEA's first physical store, where customers could actually see the furniture. This also reduced delivery costs, as people could now buy directly from the store. And those who didn't trust mail-order quality could see the products for themselves. As a marketing move, Ingvar even arranged free Swedish buses to bring customers to the store. When IKEA's first store opened in 1953, the response was overwhelming. Nearly 1,000 people lined up outside. Furnishing new government homes had become a necessity. Ingvar's strategy was working. He still sent out catalogs, but now customers could come and shop in person. IKEA became the first mail-order company to open a physical store. Ingvar even added a pool next to the store, turning it into a local tourist attraction. People came for a fun outing and left with a few purchases. IKEA was climbing the ladder of success quickly. But Ingvar didn't realize that traditional furniture retailers were about to become his biggest challenge. By the 1950s, IKEA's rapid growth started to upset Swedish furniture dealers. They were still using the old mail-order model and couldn't compete with IKEA's prices. So they tried to stop IKEA by every means possible. First, they got IKEA banned from trade fairs, because IKEA's stalls always had the most traffic, mainly because they showcased real furniture, not just catalogs. Then they got price listings and catalogs banned, as IKEA's prices were the lowest. But instead of giving up, IKEA held its own trade fair, where no one could block them. The rival dealers then threatened IKEA's suppliers, warning that if they sold to IKEA, they would lose all other business. Out of fear, the suppliers stopped supplying to IKEA, which hurt sales badly. But Ingvar came up with a brilliant solution. While other retailers paid suppliers in 90 days, IKEA announced it would pay in just 10 days. That changed everything. Suppliers began secretly delivering furniture to IKEA, sometimes even under the cover of night. Meanwhile, IKEA started designing its own furniture and began producing wooden chairs in Poland, something no one had thought of. What was meant to be a boycott only made IKEA stronger, helping it dodge every attack. One day, an employee noticed a customer trying to fit a table into their car but struggling. He suggested removing the table legs. This one idea changed IKEA's future. Ingvar instantly realized its value. Furniture could now be packed flat, shipped easily, and assembled by customers. This concept became the core of IKEA's business model. Flat-pack furniture meant less storage space, lower transport costs, and reduced damage. Customers could take their furniture home the same day. They assembled it themselves and felt more emotionally connected to it. This concept became so popular it was dubbed the IKEA effect. IKEA was the first to introduce disassembled furniture to the world, a concept now used everywhere. Even during manufacturing, items are designed to be disassembled and delivered cheaply. Following the success of the first store, Ingvar planned a larger store near Stockholm. It was the size of 8 football fields, spread over 3 floors. He designed the layout based on customer psychology. There was only one entrance and one exit. Shoppers had to walk through the entire store, ensuring they saw every item, even those they hadn't planned to buy. The layout encouraged people to stay longer, but around lunchtime, the store would go empty. Ingvar realized people were leaving to eat and not returning, so he opened a restaurant inside the store. That changed everything. Now customers stayed longer and ate while shopping. Ingvar now had a perfect business model that could be replicated. In 1965, a new IKEA store opened, and 18,000 people visited on the first day. By 1973, IKEA had become incredibly successful. Ingvar now wanted to ensure IKEA would survive long after him. So, he made a plan, one that would later get him accused of tax evasion. He dreamed of passing IKEA to his children, but Sweden's inheritance taxes were extremely high. To solve this, Ingvar hired lawyers from around the world. Their goal was to save IKEA from taxes. Over 7 years, they created shell companies, foundations, and trusts in tax havens. Eventually, IKEA's corporate structure became so complex that taxing it became nearly impossible. Because of this, people began accusing IKEA of tax fraud. And as the saying goes, the more you succeed, the more they pull you down. In 1980, IKEA faced another controversy. Some East German factories supplying IKEA were found to be using forced prison labor. IKEA was blamed. When the allegations were proven true, IKEA's management issued a public apology. By the 1990s, over 70 new stores had opened. In 2008, IKEA became the world's largest furniture company. In 2018, Ingvar Kamprad passed away at the age of 91. Today, there are 473 IKEA stores worldwide, launching over 2,000 new products each year. And what's special is that even now, every product still has a Swedish name. A tradition that started with Ingvar's dyslexia. Thank you for watching this amazing video from Who Official. Please like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. Also put your thoughts under comments section. See you in next video.